Welcome to Disconnecting from the Matrix, where the release is from within. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Alice Kim, and this is episode 12. In this session, we will take a step back and talk about the theme of the show, which is about the Matrix, and specifically about disconnecting from it. I see that more and more people are tuning into the show every day, so I wanted to ask you, why have you tuned in? What is it you want to know? What do you think the Matrix is? What is it that you need to disconnect from, and why? And more importantly, if you wish to break away from it, how do you initiate disconnection? All coming up. First, what is the Matrix? My definition is very simple. The Matrix is nothing but a bunch of made-up stories. That's it. It's just a collection of fictitious ideas made up by mind. And you can call these stories by many names. You can call them concepts, judgments, opinions, beliefs, or whatever you want. But all of them is born from mind, and none of it is true, and therefore unreal. Untrue and unreal until you decide for yourself that it's true, and therefore real for you. And because these beliefs and ideas really just a collection of thoughts, and more than not, just a bunch of crap thoughts at that, these beliefs, because they aren't true and aren't real, they're really nothing. And as nothing, you can't even define them as crappy or happy or whatever, because since they're nothing, they can't even be good nor bad. But for whatever it's not, identification with the Matrix has a powerful magnetic pull, which is to say a fierce, hypnotic influence on how you perceive the world and on how you create your reality. And the Matrix appears to take on many, many levels, the most obvious being mass consciousness. You can call them mass beliefs, or more accurately, mass hypnosis, or mass delusions. These are group beliefs that come from quote-unquote out there, from family, friends, society, culture, religion, education, politics, science, media, and the list goes on and on. And from a very young age, these mass beliefs, they program your mind and turn you into a robot. They brainwash you on how to view life and live life. There are strict programs and rules for everything, from how you should think, how you should speak and behave, what you should believe in, what you should buy, what you should eat, how you should dress, how much money you can make, and who you can or can't be friends with, where you can live, where you can go to school, how smart you are, how attractive you are, or even how stupid and ugly you are. You get the picture. You're pegged into a label, a definition, from early on, and then taught to know your place and stay there because you're not good enough to do any better than what everyone else judges your worth to be. And just the same, you also peg the rest of the world down and other people and everything else into neat little prefabricated labels that someone else created for you. All of these beliefs are just mental building blocks that create the structures of the Matrix. And every single one of them are nothing more than bullshit stories. They're lies that others, like the rest of us, were taught and then accepted as true. and then passed down and excreted into the sewage of collective mind. And then we roll around in this cesspool. We're drowning in other people's shit, and then we think that it's our shit and carry around this bag full of shit and then spend the rest of our lives coping with shit, going to therapy to process the shit, or do battle with the non-stop shitstorm that never seems to stop shitting all over you. But let me remind you that no matter what form this shit takes, whether they be from people around you, from religion, the media, the military-industrial complex, I don't know, what have you, they're all the same anyway in that they're nothing but stories that are not true, not real, and most importantly, not yours. This matrix is exactly that. Shit. Shit that's not yours. So, the most basic and obvious description of the matrix is that it's a construct of mass consciousness belief systems. What are beliefs? They're simply judgments and assumptions. They have nothing to do with what is, and what has nothing to do with what is nothing at all, and also has not a thing to do with what you are, what you is, what you be. So the matrix is constructed by beliefs. It's the blueprint of lies that you download into your consciousness to create your world. And most of us trudge through a life of self-created limitations, fear, dissatisfaction, and lack because we bought into the crap stories, the crap counterfeit software bootlegged from other people's minds. They're actually like text messages. You can't see the actual messages with your eyes, nor can you feel them. But they're all around, passing through space, through your body, through walls and cities and all over the world. Millions and billions of invisible digital blips of everyone's mind passing through you 24/7. And that's what mass consciousness is like. That's what the matrix is like. An invisible ocean of other people's thoughts and beliefs that you somehow picked up through the antenna of your mind and then convinced yourself that those are your thoughts, that those are your messages. All beliefs, they're nothing but illusions. There's no truth to them, regardless of whether you consider some to be positive or some to be negative. Beliefs are just beliefs. There's no such thing as good beliefs, and there is no such thing as bad beliefs. And all beliefs are opinions and labels that assume relative positions on various ends of the spectrum for the moment. And all of this ends up sliding and switching places depending on your perspective. Just think of anything you believe in and put it to the test. Anything. And you'll quickly verify for yourself just what I am talking about. Whatever beliefs you have, you're quickly bound to face many different, if not adamantly opposing views on the exact same subject. Or have you ever had a certain belief about something only to switch camp later? And what did that switch do? How did that change your reality? So one of the biggest matrices or lies is this belief in a black and white world, that of good and bad. But what they really are just lines drawn in sand. They're all relative and highly changeable. And that's to say, they are unreliable. So beliefs, they are delusional. They make the unreal real, and they focus on one facet of this dream that we call reality to the exclusion of all other potentials. In other words, they collapse the wave of infinite possibilities into one tiny particle this one point within this vast ocean of infinity, and then says, that's it. That's little me. That's my little life. So all beliefs are untruths, and these untruths make up the matrix of mind. And this only perpetuates the dream and keeps you from waking up to your I am. It's like a thick layer of heavy, dense clouds that blocks you from seeing and feeling the warmth, the clarity, and brightness of the ever-present light of your presence. All beliefs are nothing but a bunch of made-up stories that have nothing to do with what is. And what is what you are. And beyond all these appearances within the matrix that appear to be coming from outside and subjecting your mind with its programs and viruses, there is only one matrix that you need to pay attention to, and that is the matrix of your mind. You see, the matrix, it's not out there. The matrix is within. It's within your mind. And no matter how powerful or hypnotic the beliefs in the matrix out there appears to be, none of them would have any effect on you until you make them true and you make them real for yourself. And yes, you may have originally taken on suggestions from the outside, but there is only one way to bring those ideas to your reality, and that is to make them your own. So I guess although it can be said on a cursory level that the matrix is out there, really, it's just your own mind. And this matrix is the blueprint in which you perceive and experience your reality. Now, whether this is done consciously or unconsciously may be something to consider if that's what you like to do. I mean, for one, I don't really like to process anything. I'd rather simply deal with what's at hand. But regardless of how anything came to be, the matrix that you experience is your soul creation. And no matter from what and from where else you believe made your life the way it is, let me ask you, would you be able to experience your life without you? Without you, your so-called reality will vanish. Without you, everything in the world of form, the entire universe as you know it, dissolves. Only you can experience your life as you. So instead of distracting ourselves by pointing fingers and blaming the matrix that's out there, like the economy, other people, the media, the quote-unquote system of whatever sorts, the way to truly be free to be what we are and create a life of our choosing, the way to be free and at peace just as we are, is to point the finger right back at ourselves and accept full responsibility for the matrix that we created in our own minds. That's all there is to it. Look no further than your own mind, because that's where you will find the one and only matrix that you need to release. Earlier, I said that the matrix is nothing but a bunch of made-up stories. That's it. It's just a collection of fictitious ideas made up by mind about yourself and about your reality. They're not true, and they're not real. But nonetheless, they appear to be so very real. Why is that? As I say in every episode, you are consciousness, and consciousness creates your reality. And although mind is not consciousness, and this is a very important distinction that I'll speak about another time, although mind isn't consciousness, most people aren't aware enough, or you can say conscious enough, to know this very fundamental truth of their beingness. And what they do instead is they focus their consciousness on their minds and mistake themselves for mind. And because you are consciousness, what you've done now is that you've mistaken yourself for mind. Look around, even at yourself, on how hardly anyone can separate themselves from their mind and their thoughts. Most of what's accepted in science even lumps together the brain and mind with consciousness. Descartes, he famously said, "I think, therefore I am." Well, that's absolutely true if you're still unconscious and not yet woken up to what you are. That's mistaking the matrix to be you and then having your experience as a robot playing out all the programs of everything other than what you really are, what you truly be, your I am. If we're talking about the mistaken I am from identification of mind, which is of form, space, and time, then yes, seeing yourself as a body, as a person, it follows that, yes, I am my name, I am my sex, I am my age, I am my race or my nationality, I am my profession, I am a wife, husband, daughter, sister, whatever. I am whatever concept, story, or label I appear, think, and believe to be based on outward mental definitions and standards. Everything except what I truly am, which is consciousness beyond mind, which is presence beyond definition. The difference between mind and presence is that as mind, you think you are. You think you're all the things based on made-up stories. You are, in effect, creating an illusion of who you are based on judgments and measurements and stories, all based on beliefs that weren't even yours to begin with. You're creating your life and your reality and your perception of life based on all the ideas that have nothing to do with you. A hollow life at best. And at worst is making you completely unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and even totally miserable. Almost everyone I talk to, they aren't happy in their lives, for the most part. Yes, we all have happy moments, but I'm not talking about transient events. I'm talking about just at a very basic level, being at a constant state of peace. And I attribute that to our having drunk the Kool-Aid of belief systems that aren't even close to our own truth and what makes us truly happy. And all belief systems, whether positive or negative, which, by the way, is yet another belief system, they all make up the matrix. So identifying with the matrix, the constructs of mind, this identification, it creates your sense of self and resulting reality based on ideas and stories that are totally separate from your being and your truth. And anything that's removed from your truth is a lie. And to live a lie is not living at all. Yet, that's how most of us live. Why disconnect from the matrix? Because you want to reconnect with yourself, the self with a capital S. Because you're tired of living according to the rules and structures created by others that don't serve you. Because you want to live exactly as you are, according to your own truth in any manner that you choose. Because you're ready for limitless possibilities and an effortless life of joy and ease. Because you choose freedom. The matrix, regardless of how it shows up, they all come from mind that's separate from source, from presence, from yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe all those crap stories are yours and then act them out in your life. And while with mind, you think you are, in presence, you know you are. Thinking comes from mind, and knowing comes from presence. You are. You simply are. I am. There's certainty. There's authority to that. That is presence of knowing, as opposed to, I think I am. Well, are you or are you not? So how do you start to disconnect? How do you initiate the release? Remember that the matrix doesn't even exist. They're all made up stories. So you're dealing with nothing, which actually makes things very simple. You don't have to do anything except to get in touch with what you are. That's consciousness. And then the rest is simply a matter of becoming aware of the thoughts and beliefs and then dropping it, just letting it all go. So all very simple, but I didn't say it was easy. But if you're serious about being free, it's a choice you need to make over and over again until you've released every last drop, every last iota of all the I am nots of the matrix until you're left with only what you are. I am. Also, please understand that mind is not an enemy. The mind is a tool we placed within consciousness to help us navigate and thrive as humans in this dimension. Things only become problematic, actually, when we end up mistaking mind for who we are instead of consciousness. But the greater space, the infinite background in which this little mind operates in, is consciousness, and that's what we are. And as soon as we become aware enough to recognize ourselves for what we are, then we can be the detached observer that looks at mind for the tool that it is and start to have it begin to work for us instead of against us. In fact, mind never even intended to work against us. Again, it's our own error in misidentifying it as ourselves. And the way for mind to work for us is just to stop identifying it as you and let it just do its job as an instrument that helps your body, the person that you've embodied, to get around in the world of 3D. So here are some quick ways that I release thoughts and beliefs. These don't take much time at all, and you can do this at any time. You don't have to carve out time to meditate and make it into a big deal or ritual out of it. All you need to do is become aware of thoughts and then simply choose if you want to keep them or let them go. The quickest way that I deal with releasing thoughts and beliefs is this. As soon as you become aware of thoughts, just ask yourself. Be honest with yourself when you ask this, but just ask yourself, is this true? Or even shorter, just ask, truth? And an answer should come immediately as a feeling. And then, if something's not true, I then simply make a conscious choice to release it, to drop it, to disown it. I just drop kick it to the curb. A lot of times, though, I don't even have to ask anything. I see my mind chattering away and making all kinds of comments and judgments and being really mean to myself. And the way I know that these thoughts are not mine is by checking into how I'm feeling at the moment. So how do you know what's yours? Well, what doesn't hurt you is yours. What only loves and supports you is yours. What makes you feel joy is yours. And everything else is shit. Are your thoughts making you feel open, relaxed, and joyful? Or are you feeling constricted and tense? Whenever you feel uneasy, simply say to the thoughts, nope, not mine. And then dismiss it and move on. For me, the way that I usually say it is, I just say to whatever comes up, I say, shut the fuck up. That works for me, but you can experiment on what works best for you. The point is, though, you're dealing with nothing. So don't make it into something. Just see it for what it is and then just drop it. The only thoughts and beliefs that become real are the ones that you choose. And as the master, in your sovereignty, you have a choice at any moment to unchoose it. Unchoose it, to let it go. This is about disconnecting. Not fighting or struggling or fixing. There is no problem. there is only undoing, releasing. The fastest way to liberation is to see your mind for no more than what it is and simply step away and turn off the switch. Ultimately, it's about no mind at all and only presence. And until then, there's no need to get dramatic. Just take a nice deep breath and keep on choosing over and over again to gently release, to gently unplug away all the cables, all the tentacles of the matrix, all the I am nots, and quietly rest in the certainty, grace, and exquisite stillness of I am. There is my call. Time to get the hell out of the matrix, out of mind, and into the free state of now as presence. I am I, and yet I do go by the name Alice Kim. I thank you for listening, and I will check in with you later. If you'd like to read additional show notes or leave a comment, please visit the episode page at disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/12. That's disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/12. And while you're there, please subscribe to my email list so we can stay in touch. Also, if you're on iTunes and are enjoying this show, please consider giving it a favorable rating and review for the benefit of future listeners. To contact me directly, my email is alice@disconnectmatrix.com. I welcome all your questions, comments, and any feedback that you have. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time.